Hello guys, I'm Sammy from Hackabad.net, and today we're going to talk about what champions you can play in League of Legends that are really brainless and really easy to play and should allow you to climb ELO really easily. Now, first of all, I want to point out, and this should be obvious, obviously your choice of champion is not everything that matters. Now, and another little tip that I'm going to give you is if you're at bronze or at some really low ELO, chances are one of your main problems is communication. So just a small tip, just mute everybody on your team, because this is something I did for a long time. I just listened to other people, responded, and if you flame, you basically get other people to AFK or troll or simply not play with you and for each other for the team, which is a huge reason why you're probably stuck at this ELO. And keep in mind, it's not your team's fault, it's actually your fault. This is just mathematically true. Now, some really brain-dead champions that got me out of low ELO meaning bronze and silver. Now, one that's very obvious to me that I used a few seasons ago is Annie. It's one of the most simple and easy burst mages in the game. All you basically do is, charge up your stun and then just face roll your face or your forehead on the keyboard. You can also use your nose. It doesn't really matter. You just, put some part of your body on your keyboard and you roll it. Alright? And that's basically how Annie works. You can play her support where she is really effective, or you can play her mid if you want. You can even play her top if you like. And her combo is really easy. I mean, you just roll face on the keyboard, you charge up your stun and roll face on the keyboard. Really easy. Really easy champion to play. For another role would be, for example, Warwick. Again, very easy to play. It doesn't require any mechanical skill whatsoever. You basically just farm. You got your level 6, you go mid, you roll your face on the keyboard, and yeah, easy game. This is another very easy champion. If you're playing a role that's a little bit more mechanics intensive, I would say for the bot lane, for ADC, for example, Cillian. Because there's really no hard counter to her, except ganking her a lot. She has incredible range, and all you basically have to be able to do is last hit minions. And I hope you can learn that, just get a custom game, last hit the minions. It's really easy. It gives you gold, it's pretty useful. So yeah, you just basically farm. If your enemy overextends, you kill them. And yeah. And you roll your face again on the keyboard. And yeah, that's basically how Caitlyn works. Really easy champion again. Now, something especially for bronze and silver that I recommend is Blitzcrank. Because, well, bronze or silver ELO players don't really dodge abilities. So, yeah, you just take Blitzcrank, you hook them, you roll your face on the keyboard. Or you roll your hand on the keyboard, or you roll your foot on the keyboard. You can just basically, get on your chair, you can climb on your desk and jump on the keyboard. And, that's how easy it is to win using Blitzcrank, basically. Then another thing that I've noticed that low ELO players will do is they will not pay attention to their team composition at all. So if you want to climb ELO, you have to make up for the deficits of your team. That basically means you have to come into a game with an open mind and not be set on one single champion. Now, what happens quite often, especially in bronze, that I've noticed is that people will go full AD team comp. In this case, I recommend any tank really, but Rammus is really good. I can remember one specific game where I just saw that the enemy team basically was just going all AD squishies. So I went Rammus support. My team flamed me for, being a troll and whatever. And about 15 minutes in, I just 1v3'd their jungle and their bot lane. And yeah, then they didn't really flame me as much after that. I don't know why exactly, but, that's just how it is. Then other really simple champions that can be really useful include also Rise, which, is fairly strong in the late game, and yeah, and his spell combo is basically, again, it's kind of a pattern that you might have noticed in this video, is, you take your head and you roll it on the keyboard. And it doesn't really matter, I mean, just press R and then roll your head on the keyboard. That's basically how Rise works. Again, he's insanely strong, just get CDR, get a little bit of tankiness, get rid of the ages, and yeah, you'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna carry, and, your team's gonna be happy about that. Take teleport if you're top lane. You can also play mid, obviously, it's a little bit harder mid, and yeah. I don't know about Rise support, but maybe it works. I don't know. Stun is pretty useful. So yeah, that's nice. Another champion that Bronzy simply cannot deal with is right here, Tryndamere. Bronze people simply cannot deal with Tryndamere ultimate. They don't know how to play around it. They don't seem to realize that you cannot really kill Tryndamere when he's in his ult, so they will stick right at your side and allow you to bash their heads in. Again, spell combo is really, really complicated. You take your head and roll it on the keyboard. Again, not very complex. It's kind of, you don't really need a PhD, but it's useful. You just need to, roll head on the keyboard, and it's going to be fine. If you have a cat, you can take your cat and roll your cat on the keyboard. The downside of that is that a cat might lose some hair, and the hair might get stuck on the keyboard. It's, it's a mess, whatever. Doesn't really matter. And yeah, another champion that I recommend pretty highly, but only under certain circumstances, is Master Yi. Obviously, you don't really see pro players play him. Why is that, you might ask? Well, in pro play, usually, teams have some kind of lockdown, some stuns, some snares, some stuff like that. So crowd control, something that you don't really see in low elo in a lot of games. So if you notice in Champion Select that your enemy team doesn't have any stuns or snares or anything that could stop Master Yi from just simply, rolling his head on the keyboard and killing everybody, then just pick Master Yi. You're gonna be fine, basically. He's, as I said, perfect if the enemy team doesn't have any stuns, and if they don't have more than one tank, usually. It really depends on the tank. Again, if the tank has slows and stuff, it might not be ideal. But yeah, Master Yi is really good at just slicing people up. And again, really easy to play, alright? You just roll your head or your cat, or you can also try your dog, although it's really hard to get a dog onto your desk, kind of. And it's hard. It depends on your dog. If you have a small dog, it might be possible if you have a poodle or something like that to roll it on the keyboard. All you have to do is kind of, pay attention that you don't hit your W key. That's kind of the only thing you have to watch out for. Although hitting W twice isn't that bad either. It'll give you an auto reset. Other than that, it's really easy champion to master. Again. Yeah, and then some stuff that you can also try to make yourself fit into is wave clear, in which case I would highly recommend 6. Has great wave clear. If you notice that the enemy team doesn't have any wave clear whatsoever, just pick 6. If you have to, pick 6 support, and yeah, just push all those waves, get all the farm, kill people. And build full AD in support roles if you're ever supporting in bronze. Because in bronze, if you're playing support, in high elo, you're basically helping your team make plays. However, in bronze specifically, people cannot make plays off of your plays. So setting them up for plays is useless in most cases. So in bronze, if you're supporting, you really want to be the carry, alright? If you want to support in bronze, take Annie, take Sixth, or Cillian works as well. People, for some reason, cannot deal with Cillian in bronze. They don't know how to dodge the bombs, they don't know what the bombs do, they don't know what his ultimate does, they don't know what his ultimate looks like. They are absolutely clueless. Cillian is incredibly OP in low elo games for this exact reason. Yeah, And then also some other brainless champions. Veigar is pretty brainless. It's not bad. Again, basically any burst mage that just rolls his face or his cat or his dog on the keyboard is pretty much alright. Okay? I have heard of people that actually have used their pet hamsters to, roll those on the keyboard, but, PETA and all, I wouldn't actually do that. Yeah, and that basically kind of is about that. Now, also some champions maybe that you shouldn't play because they require quite a bunch of skill, and if you're low elo, chances are your mechanics aren't that developed yet. Kind of stuff like Nidalee, for example. All those Nidalee players. Or Draven. Don't play Draven, please. Heimerdinger might be good in low bronze elo, if you're like bronze 5 or something. Because people cannot deal with his turrets. However, it wears off pretty fast. If you're in silver, Heimerdinger will be pretty much useless because people will pick champions that can clear his turrets easily, and without his turrets, he's kinda useless. Also, Jax is pretty good. People cannot deal with his stun, and again, he's the kind of champion where you more or less just, roll your face or your dog or your, hamster on the keyboard, and you win. The only difficult thing being ward jumping, but, you can basically learn that, more or less. Yeah, Gangplank is not very good for low elo players. It's, his barrels take some skill and stuff. Same goes for Seer and other champions. Yeah, so basically this is this. And yeah, I hope you guys can use this information to play some brainless champions. Oh, Nasus, obviously. Nasus is kind of alright. Obviously, you need to be able to have last hit stuff so that you're really scary in the late game. Problem about Nasus is he doesn't have really good wave clear, which means you can fall behind when it comes to map pressure. But if you can play for the late game, if your team doesn't feed too hard, he's pretty decent. But he does require some skill, but it's not entirely brainless. So yeah, those are my recommendations on how to play some really easy champions, some brainless champions that allow you to simply roll anything on your keyboard and win. More or less. Obviously, there's still some skill involved, but Anyways, thanks you guys for watching. See you guys soon.